Hi, this is Bill for Sparky Channel, and today I'm going to show you how to make a 4-point saddle bend. And what that is, it's a bend that jumps over an obstruction like this, and there's 4 points to it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's different ways to know where to make these bends. You can consult an app on your smartphone. You can consult a chart on the internet or on a book, or you can just know the multipliers. So I'm going to teach you the multipliers today. And an interesting thing is the Klein Tools tape measure, the new one just came out. It's got the conduit bending multipliers on the back side. See, it's got a regular side with your numbers, and then it's got a back side with your numbers. So it's got a double grabber here. And so here's your conduit bending multipliers, and it has the shrinkage amount. You see, now this is a 72-inch piece of conduit right here. And I bent this one up to show you. I'm going to take this down and do another one to show you how to do it. But this just gives you an idea what a 4-point saddle bend is. And see, I started right here. And this screw is actually the mark where the conduit starts. So if you take your tape and you put it on the screw here and over to here where the conduit ends, it's 70.5 inches. So this conduit lost 1.5 inches, and we call that shrinkage. So this tape measure also tells you the shrinkage. It gives you the conduit bending multipliers, which is I'm going to explain that in a little bit. And the shrinkage. The shrinkage is a pretty easy concept. If you make these bends, this pipe isn't going to be as long as it was when you started. And in this case, it's 1.5 inches shorter because of these 4 bends. Here's the tape for 30-degree bends. And you see the multiplier is 2.0. So since we're jumping up 3 inches with our bend, we're going to multiply that 3 inches by 2.0 and get 6 inches. And 6 inches will be the distance between our bends. That's what the multiplier is. And then you move right over next to it. You see the shrink factor is 1/4 inch per inch. And since we're jumping up 3 inches, that's 1/4 inch times 3, or 3/4 inch. Now, we just said the entire conduit shrunk 1.5 inches, but that's 2 sets of bends. So the shrinkage is 1/4 inch for each inch. And we're going to come out 3 inches with our bend. We're going to jump up 3 inches. So our shrinkage that we have to figure in for this length of pipe is 3/4 of an inch. That's 1/4 inch times 3. Now the distance from where our conduit starts to where our obstruction starts is 33 1/8. So we need to know that measurement, 33 1/8, and we're going to come up 3 inches. So let's get started plotting out our pipe as to where we're going to make our bends. So we've got the tape on the pipe, and remember the distance to the obstruction was 33 1/8. So we're going to add on the 3/4 inch shrinkage. So that'll give us 33 7/8 right here. Okay, so that gets us to the obstruction. Now the bend is 6 inches. The 6 inches between the bends. So that'll be 27 7/8 right here. Okay, so, and I'm going to go all the way around with the marks. Okay, so now we're to the obstruction itself, which is 7 1/4 inches. So that'll be 41 1/8 right here, 41 1/8. And I'm going to go all the way around with the mark. So this is 7 1/4. And now we're going to go 6 more inches for the distance between the bends. So 47 1/8. So right here. So there's the marks. So I have 4 marks on this pipe. And I'm going to start with this mark right here. Okay, you see I have my arrow on the line. Okay, and I'm going to be bending this way on the floor for my first bend, 30 degrees. Then I'm going to take this off and switch this. Oh, and I want to point out this part is called the hook. This part right here is called the hook. The hook's pointing towards the middle of the bend. This is the middle of these bends right here. The hook points in. Okay, so I'm going to bend that 30 degrees, and then I'm going to take this off and flip it around and put my arrow right on the line. Okay, and I'm going to this is going to be on the ground again. I'm going to bend this 30 degrees that way. So I have 2 30-degree bends done on the ground with the hook pointing in both times. The hook points in both times. Then I'll be doing the bends in the air, and just they'll be right here. The arrow will be on this line, and I'll be doing this. It'll be 30 degrees, and it'll be in the air. And then my last bend will be right here, pointing towards the middle of the bend. And I'm going to bend this 30 degrees. So I'm going to start with the 2 middle bends on the ground with the hook pointing towards the middle. And then I'm going to do the 2 outer bends in the air with the hook pointing towards the middle. So all 4 bends, always remember, the hook points towards the middle. Here's a couple more bending heads. This is called ductile iron. It's made by Ideal. And this is another aluminum head. It's made by Klein. The reason I like the Ideal aluminum head better than the Klein aluminum head is this only has an arrow on one side, whereas the Ideal has the arrow on both sides. Okay, now I'm ready to start bending. And you see I'm on the 3rd mark right there. And the orange item on the pipe is a Klein digital level, and that helps me to make the bends more accurately. Generally, when the handle gets to about 90 degrees, that should be a 30-degree bend. Now I'm checking my digital level, and I'm having a little spring back. Okay, the spring back is going to be about 2 degrees. That one was right on 30 degrees, according to my digital level. Okay, I'm going to make one more bend on the ground. So I'm going to put my digital level right there. Now you got to get this one in the same plane. And the way to do it is you line up your handle with the pipe. Just sight down it. And now we're going to bend it till the handle is about 90 degrees. I'm going to check my digital level, see how I did. Just a touch more. And that was right on 30 degrees. Both those were right on 30 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to make a couple bends in the air. And so you want to grab this thing right there in the middle. That's the best place to grab it. It's going to want to slide around otherwise. So, okay, I put it right there in the hook. And you have to put that line right on the arrow. Now you got to sight. You have to move back and sight that thing right down the line, and there I bent it to 30 degrees. Now you take it out, you grab it right there, see, and you switch it around. See, I'm grabbing it right in the middle. That's a good point. Okay, now I'm going to put the arrow right on the mark again. And I'm going to sight again. if you don't sight and get it right, you're going to get what's called a dog leg, which is a crooked bend. You don't want any dog leg. So you sight it real good, and then there's 30 degrees right there. Okay, now put it down on the ground and check it. You can't quite see it. I got it out of the camera there. It's just a touch off. I'm going to give a little adjustment, and there it is. It's perfect. And I sight it down, make sure you didn't get any dog legs. And so I like that. I like the bend. And I put a little piece of white tape on one end so I remember what end goes there. It actually says left on it, that little piece of white tape. Okay, so this fitting I've set up so it just slides over. Okay, here's your marks right here. You see, the obstruction got right in the middle there, right where it's supposed to be between those two marks. So I got that lined up just right. And you see the other two marks there for the bends. So now I've tightened down the fittings and the one-hole strap, and it all looks good. And now I'm going to clean up the pencil marks. That's why I did it in pencil, so that you can clean them real well and make your work look professional. See how much better it looks without pencil marks or Sharpie marks. Now I did this 4-point settle bend using 30-degree angles. You can use different angles like 22.5 degrees, but you're going to have a longer bend. You're going to use up more space doing a 22.5 degree bend. If you use 45-degree bends, then it'll be a shorter space, but it'll be a little harder to run your wires. So 30-degree bends is a good compromise, and a lot of people like to use the 30-degree bends for this kind of work. I'll put links in my video description for the Klein magnetic 25-foot tape measure with conduit bending tables, and for the Klein digital magnetic level. I'll also put links for Klein and Ideal conduit benders in the 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch sizes, both in aluminum and in ductile iron. And I'll put a link for the Klein full brim hard hat. I'll also put links for Klein kneeling pads, which really save wear and tear on your knees. Thanks. I hope this video was helpful.